But we also know this. The United States of America does not quit once it starts on something. You don't quit. The American Armed Services does not quit. We keep at it. We persevere. And together with our partners, we will prevail. I am absolutely confident of that.
President Obama back on U.S. soil after a whirlwind trip to Afghanistan, his first as president.
President Obama pulled off a real surprise. Now it's back to selling health care reform. Top Line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABCNews.com's Top Line. I'm Rick Klein.
And I'm Teddy Davis.
Every day at noon Eastern, we bring you the latest political news and analysis, everything you need to know before you head out the door to lunch. And you follow us all day long. It's twitter.com/thenote, where you can let us know what you think. Teddy, kick us off. What is your top line?
Obama's war. President Obama made a surprise visit to Afghanistan over the weekend. He met with President Karzai, told him to clean up corruption, and spoke with U.S. troops. It really is his war now.
It's a stark message for the president. When you talk about an ally like that, obviously this needed to be a tough love approach. The president and his advisors are clearly frustrated with the pace of how things are going. The surge is ongoing right now, but things have not gotten better at the pace that they were hoping for. Sales week. The voting is done. The laws are signed into the books right now on health care, but now the talking has just begun, and President Obama will be back on the road later this week talking up the great things that this health care bill do, and the Tea Party Express also on the road talking about the not so great things that they see in it. So much of the battle so far, Teddy, has been controlled by the opposition on this. It's different now, potentially, that Democrats have something they can talk about proactively, but it's not clear that they're going to be successful on that. When you look at the entirety of this process, they have lost control of the messages so many times.
And Sarah Palin was out at that Tea Party rally in Nevada over the weekend. She got enormous attention, and it really does look like they're going to be fighting about this health care bill all the way to November. Mitt Romney's health care dilemma. Mitt Romney is back in Iowa today, once again facing questions about his authenticity. Last time the questions were about his abortion stance. This time it's about the health care bill that he signed into law in Massachusetts. Conservative activists say it's just too much like Obamacare.
This is going to be a major issue for Mitt Romney every step of the way. He's tried to be on the offense a bit by talking about all the things that he doesn't like in Obamacare, but you're seeing other folks, including Tim Pawlenty over the weekend, begin to say, look, Massachusetts is not what you want. Coded language that gets pretty directly at a key argument that Mitt Romney's going to have to rebut. And finally, recess appointments. This just in from the annals of bipartisanship. President Obama over the weekend selected 15 individuals whose confirmation to important posts had been held up by senators for various reasons. He used this power that does exist for every president. Every president does and has used it. And every time, like clockwork, the opposition party hates when they do it.
Yeah. And with the Senate bottling up so many nominations, I think you're going to see more and more of these recess appointments.
Potentially, that is correct. We're joined now via Skype by Sean Duffy, who is a Republican House candidate in Wisconsin. He's joining us from Ashland, Wisconsin, and we appreciate you being with us. Also, the district attorney of Ashland County, Wisconsin. Mr. Duffy, I want to start with the health care bill. It's been in the books for a week so far. What has the response been like? What has it meant for your campaign now that this is in the books, actually gavelled in by the guy you want to take out, Dave Obey?
That's right. He was sitting at the speaker's chair when this bill passed. As I've been traveling around my district here in northern Wisconsin, folks aren't happy with it. This is a bill that people did not want. We wanted actual reform that was going to help reduce cost and increase access. And most people here in Wisconsin realize that this is not that bill. This is a bill that's going to take over 1/6 of our economy, and it isn't going to accomplish those true principles of reducing costs, which is the main concern of folks out here.
Have you seen an uptick in campaign donations? What's it been like on the ground for you?
Well, we have. On Sunday night when the bill passed, and then into Monday morning, we saw thousands of dollars come into our campaign. And that was, we didn't make a huge effort at it, but folks were contributing because they're so upset and they see the role that David Obey plays in this healthcare debate. He is one of the main drivers with Nancy Pelosi to have shepherded through the votes last Sunday night.
And Sean, I wanted to ask you about Sarah Palin. You've got her support in your congressional race. Are we going to see her campaigning for you in your district? And do you think that she ought to run for president in 2012?
Well, I was honored to have her support. She did a Facebook post on February 17th, which was the anniversary of the stimulus package. And as you guys may know, Dave Obey was the main author of that bill. And so she helped us with a money bomb we did that day, which also brought in a lot of small contributions from around the country, but about $27,000 in campaign contributions. So no, I'm happy to have her support. I believe in what she's doing. She's talking about reducing the size of government, bringing responsibility and common sense back. So we're honored to have her support.
And do you think she'd be the strongest Republican candidate for president in 2012?
You know, the people will make that decision, but I think she is a strong contender. She obviously has a lot of momentum. If we looked at what happened over the weekend out in Nevada, people like her. And here in northern Wisconsin, people like her. So I think she is one of the top contenders in this year, or in the 2012 cycle.
Sean, your candidacy is probably a little bit different than a lot of folks who run for the House, or at least your background. You're on the Real World series. You met your wife through the Real World series as well. You were a former lumberjack. I'm curious, matching up against a Washington veteran like Dave Obey, how important do you think it is generally for Republicans to be kind of cutting a different profile, looking a little bit different, acting a little different background than your father's Republican might be?
You know, I don't know. For me, I'm a guy. I'm a father of soon to be 6. My wife is due with our 6th child coming in the next week to 10 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I'm a lumberjack sports competitor. I'm a guy from northern Wisconsin who sees what Dave Obey is doing in Washington, D.C., and I think this is the wrong direction for our country. And I think people in America and in Wisconsin, they want common sense, conservative principles. They voted for hope and change, and I'm hearing more and more people say, "Listen, this hope and change that we voted for isn't what I'm getting," and they see Dave Obey's role. And I think Wisconsinites want more Wisconsin in Washington and less Washington here in Wisconsin.
Do you think it helps you that you've got a bit of a different profile, that you can say, look, not a career politician?
Well, I'm a prosecutor, but I think it helps that I'm a father. People like that I'm a lumberjack sports competitor. I'm a chopper, sawyer, log roller, tree climber, or I was when I was a little bit younger and better shape. But I'm all Wisconsin, and people like that. And I think the stark difference between what I bring to the table and what Dave Obey's done in 41 years in Washington, D.C., and the fact that he moved out to Washington and lives there, and the fact that you guys may not know this, but Dave Obey went to office before we went to the moon. He was in office before Woodstock. Just to show how long this guy has been there. And I think people are ready for a new direction. And we're bringing that to the table. And I think that's why our campaign has gotten so much traction is our message and the stark difference that has to David Obey.
Sean, you go after him for being there for 41 years, that he was there before we were even on the moon, before Woodstock. You say all those things, but doesn't seniority matter? He is the chairman of the Appropriations Committee. Doesn't that allow him to deliver for Wisconsin, that powerful post that you only get by being there a really long time?
Yeah, seniority does matter. And people are so unhappy with the direction the country is going in. They hold Dave Obey more responsible for the direction. And I think in other cycles, in other elections, people would say, what can my congressman bring back to the district for us? This is a different cycle, though. People are concerned about our debt. We have a $12 trillion deficit. People realize that this money is being borrowed from China and India. It's not coming out of the U.S. savings account or the American piggy bank. And people are concerned that our kids are going to have to pay this money back. And they also understand that the money in Wisconsin isn't the only place the money's going. It's going to all of the districts and states in the country. People want responsibility back in government, and that's what I'm going to bring. So when Dave Obey goes around the district and passes out his big checks, that might have worked in different years. But in this year, in 2010, people are concerned about the debt. They're concerned about an economic recovery. And Dave Obey has nothing to bring to the table on those issues.
Sean Duffy, you mentioned the Tea Party rallies from over the weekend, and there's been these extraordinary sights and sounds over the past week. I'm wondering if you're concerned at all by the tone and the tenor of some of the things we've heard shouted, some of the signs. Is that something that you've got to be careful with in some of what's going on inside the Tea Party movement?
Well, I think both parties, you don't embrace all of the extremes on either side, and sometimes folks can get heated and they can say things that I don't endorse. But when we talk about a movement that wants less government, less spending, that wants more responsibility, that's a movement that I think is resonating with my campaign because that's what I'm running on. So I think at the heart of the Tea Party movement, and especially here in Wisconsin, are good folks who really haven't been involved in politics, who are stepping up and saying, I want to have my voice heard in this election. And you do have some folks that say derogatory things and very offensive things, and I don't condone that.
All right. Sean Duffy, Republican candidate for Congress in Wisconsin. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Interesting to see if there'll be more like him, other than the whole generation of reality stars
that
they could be entering politics at some point.